Welcome everyone. I'm excited to kick off our presentation today. This is the introduction slide, where we'll set the stage for what's to come. We'll be exploring the main topic and some key points that will guide us through this session. So, let's get started and dive into what's ahead. Let's take a moment to review what we covered in the previous lecture. We focused on the fundamental concepts that underpin our entire discussion today. First, we looked at the key principles that drive this field, making sure we understand the core ideas. Then, we examined some of the main challenges and how they influence our approach. We also discussed specific examples that illustrate these points in real-world contexts, which helps us see how theory translates into practice. Remember, these foundational concepts are crucial because they set the stage for everything else we'll explore. By solidifying this understanding, we're better equipped to grasp the more complex ideas coming up in the rest of the presentation. So, what exactly is network topology? Well, it's basically the arrangement or the layout of how different devices in a network are connected to each other. This concept is fundamental because it influences the network's performance, reliability, and scalability. When we talk about network topology, we're looking at the physical or logical structure that determines how data flows between devices. Understanding the topology helps us identify the most efficient way to set up a network, troubleshoot issues, and plan for future growth. Whether it's a simple setup or a complex enterprise network, the topology provides the blueprint for how everything is connected. So, in the context of this presentation, grasping what network topology is will help us better understand how networks function and how we can optimize them for our needs. So, why is topology so important? Well, at its core, topology helps us understand the fundamental properties of shapes and spaces that remain unchanged even when they are stretched or deformed. This means we're focusing on the essence of the structure, not just its exact form. By studying topology, we can identify how different objects are connected or related, which is crucial in fields like data analysis, network design, and even robotics. It allows us to see the bigger picture and recognize patterns that might not be obvious at first glance. Overall, topology provides the tools to analyze complex systems in a way that emphasizes their core characteristics, making it a key concept in understanding the interconnectedness and resilience of various structures in our world. Today, we're going to take a closer look at the basic components of topology. Topology, as you know, is all about understanding how different elements are connected and related within a network. So, what are the key parts we need to focus on? First, we have nodes, which are basically the devices or points within the network, like computers, switches, or routers. These nodes are the fundamental building blocks. Then, we have links or edges, which represent the physical or logical connections between these nodes. Think of these as the pathways that data travels along. Together, nodes and links form the structure of the network. Understanding these components helps us grasp how information flows and how the network's layout influences its performance and reliability. Connecting this to our overall theme, recognizing these basic parts is essential because they set the foundation for more complex topologies and network designs. Let's dive into the different types of layers in topology. When we talk about layers, we're essentially discussing how a network is structured and organized to facilitate communication. The most common types are physical, data link, network, and sometimes even transport and application layers, depending on the model we're using. The physical layer is the foundation. It involves the actual hardware, like cables, switches, and routers. Think of it as the hardware that connects everything together. Moving up, the data link layer manages how data is transferred between devices on the same network, ensuring that data packets are delivered correctly and without errors. Next, we have the network layer, which is responsible for routing data across different networks. It's what makes the internet possible, directing data from source to destination across various paths. Understanding these layers is crucial because they interact to create a robust, scalable, and efficient network. Each layer has its specific role, but together they form a seamless communication system that supports the entire network infrastructure. This layered approach helps us troubleshoot, design, and optimize networks effectively, aligning with the broader goals of network topology. Let's draw a blueprint together on the board. First, we'll start with step 1. Draw 2 circles on the left. These represent the input layer where the data enters the network. Next, in step 2, draw 3 circles in the middle. These are the hidden layer where the main processing happens. Then, in step 3, draw a single circle on the right. This is the output layer, which gives us the final result. Finally, in step 4, draw lines connecting all the circles from left to right, showing how the information flows through the network. This diagram is called a 2-3-1 network topology, and it's a simple yet fundamental example of how neural networks are structured. Understanding this layout helps us grasp how data moves and transforms within the network, which is key to building effective models. Let's take a closer look at topology type 1, feed-forward networks. These are perhaps the simplest and most fundamental type of neural networks. In essence, information flows in only one direction, forward, from the input layer, through any hidden layers, and finally to the output layer. There's no looping or cycling back, which makes these networks straightforward to understand and implement. Because of their simplicity, feed-forward networks are often used for tasks like classification and regression, where the relationship between input and output is relatively direct. They serve as a great foundation for understanding more complex network structures. Connecting this to our overall discussion, recognizing the structure of feed-forward networks helps us grasp how information processing can be organized efficiently in artificial systems. Let's take a closer look at an example of a feed-forward topology in action. Here, we're seeing how the basic structure functions in a real-world scenario. The key point to remember is that feed-forward topologies are designed to improve system response and stability by directing signals in a single, predetermined path. This setup helps in reducing delays and enhances overall performance. As we go through this example, notice how the signal flows smoothly from the input to the output without looping back, which is a hallmark of feed-forward systems. Connecting this to our broader theme, understanding these topologies allows us to design more efficient and reliable control systems. It's a practical illustration of how theory translates into effective engineering solutions. Now, let's take a look at topology type 2, recurrent networks, also known as feedback networks. These networks are quite fascinating because, unlike feed-forward networks, they include loops that allow information to cycle back through the network. This creates a form of memory, enabling the network to maintain context over time. Essentially, recurrent networks can process sequences and temporal data more effectively because they can use their previous outputs as inputs for future steps. This feedback mechanism is what makes them powerful for tasks like language modeling, speech recognition, and time series analysis. As we move forward in this presentation, you'll see how these recurrent structures underpin many advanced AI systems today, and how they connect to the broader theme of neural network versatility and adaptability. Now, let's look at example 2, recurrent topology in action. This slide highlights how recurrent connections operate within a neural network. Essentially, instead of just having a straightforward feed-forward structure, we incorporate loops that feed information back into earlier layers. This design allows the network to maintain a form of memory, making it especially powerful for sequential data or time-dependent tasks. You can think of it as the network's way of remembering what it has processed before, which is crucial for understanding context. By observing this example, we see how recurrence can improve the network's ability to handle complex patterns over sequences. This ties back to our overall theme of enhancing neural network capabilities through topology modifications. Recurrent topologies open up new possibilities for tasks like language modeling, speech recognition, and more. So, in essence, this example demonstrates the practical implementation and benefits of recurrent structures in deep learning. Today, I want to introduce you to the concept of a recurrent topology. This is a fundamental structure in neural networks, especially useful for processing sequential data. The key idea here is that, unlike traditional feed-forward networks, recurrent topologies have loops that allow information to persist across time steps. This means the network can remember previous inputs, which is essential for tasks like language modeling, time series prediction, and more. These loops enable the network to maintain a sort of internal state, capturing temporal dependencies that would be missed otherwise. When we think about the overall theme of neural network architectures, recurrent topologies stand out because they mimic some aspects of human memory and cognition. They're designed to handle sequences in a way that static models simply can't. So, understanding this topology is crucial for designing systems that need to understand context over time. Now, let's take a closer look at topology type 3, connection density. This concept is all about how densely connected the nodes are within a network. Essentially, it measures how many connections exist compared to the maximum possible number of connections. A higher connection density indicates a more interconnected network, which can improve communication efficiency and robustness. Conversely, lower density might mean a simpler, more cost-effective setup, but potentially at the expense of resilience. Understanding connection density helps us evaluate the network's performance and scalability. It ties into the overall theme of network design by highlighting the trade-offs between complexity, cost, and reliability. So, when designing or analyzing a network, considering connection density is crucial for optimizing its functionality. Now, let's look at example 3, which focuses on calculating connections using math. In this slide, we're exploring how mathematical reasoning can help us understand and quantify connections. The key point here is that math isn't just about numbers. It's a powerful tool for making sense of relationships and patterns. By applying these calculations, we can uncover insights that might not be immediately obvious. This example ties back to our overall theme of understanding complex systems through logical, structured approaches. It shows how math can serve as a bridge to deeper comprehension, helping us see the connections that truly matter. Let's talk about the key idea here. Topology is essentially the blueprint of nodes and wires in a neural network. It determines how data flows through the system, shaping how the network processes information. Now, a common mistake people make is thinking that input nodes do any kind of math. But actually, they don't. Input nodes are just there to pass data into the network. They're not part of the working layers where computation happens. So we don't count them as performing any math. Another mistake is confusing feed-forward structures with feedback loops. It's important to understand that feedback, or recurrent connections, create loops in the network that give it a kind of memory. These loops allow the network to remember previous information. On the other hand, feed-forward networks are straight-line connections that flow in one direction only. They don't have loops or memory components. Recognizing this difference is crucial for understanding how different types of neural networks work. Connecting all this back to reinforcement learning, understanding the topology helps us design better models. Mistakes like mixing up input nodes or confusing feedback with feed-forward structures can lead to ineffective or misunderstood models. So, keep these distinctions clear as you develop your own network architectures. Let's take a moment to recap the key points from today's lecture. First, we discussed the importance of understanding the core concepts behind the topic, emphasizing how foundational knowledge helps us make better decisions and solve problems more effectively. We also highlighted the main techniques and strategies that can be applied in real-world scenarios, reinforcing the practical value of what we've learned. Throughout the presentation, I stressed the connections between these ideas and the broader theme of continuous learning and improvement. Remember, the goal is to not just absorb information, but to actively think about how to implement these insights in your own work. Overall, today's lecture was about building a solid framework of understanding, so you can approach challenges with confidence and clarity. Keep these concepts in mind as you move forward, and you'll be well equipped to apply them effectively. Let's take some time to go through these practice questions. The purpose here is to reinforce what we've learned and ensure you feel confident applying these concepts. As you work through each question, think about how the key points we've discussed connect to real-world scenarios. Remember, The goal is to deepen your understanding and prepare you to implement these ideas effectively. So take your time, consider each question carefully, and don't hesitate to revisit any part of the presentation if you need a refresher. This practice is all about solidifying your knowledge and linking it back to the overall theme of effective and informed decision-making.